All right. Good evening, everybody. Here we are at the beginning of our planning commission meeting on today, March 5. Mr. Planning Director, can you please take roll call?
Absolutely. Chair Tard,
Present?
Vice Chair Brothers,
Present.
Commissioner Vatra,
Here.
Commissioner Morse is absent. Commissioner Krasinski,
Here.
you have four commissioners, one absent.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's appropriate at this point to raise a point of order regarding our agenda. Our agenda describes actions that we took in the past, but they're described in an ambiguous way. And I've heard my phone been ringing a lot today because people actually read these things. The first one is the reference to.
Can I ask that you speak more squarely? into the mic?
Yes, thank you very much. The first comment is number 4, Commissioner Report, Utility Undergrounding Subcommittee. I think that's an inaccurate description. We are a subcommittee to evaluate the implementation of 18.36.010. And it's important because that section deals not with what I would call the utility line, in other words, the main line run by PG&E, but rather the line from the house, which is also known as the drop, although we don't use that in the code. So I think it's really important to change that and say we are a subcommittee on the implementation of 18.36.10. And that's something we did in public session, which is why I considered a point of order.
Okay.
The second comment is similar. We, in public session last fall, before Commissioner Vatra was on the commission, assigned or he volunteered and we accepted Ronnie as our committee representative, commission representative to the ad hoc site committee. So I think it would be more accurate to have him be the person who makes that report. Those are my 2 points of order on the agenda. The Robert's Rules of Order, if there are actually points of order, there need be no discussion.
Let me say only so noted. If there are members of our community who would like to speak on unagendized matters, now is the appropriate time to come forth.
Taking another moment for hands to be raised.
Mr. Chair, there are no hands raised. And no one there's no one but commissioners and staff in the schoolhouse.
Can I ask if we have people, if the people on?
Yes, we have a total of 8 attendees.
Thank you so much. Then let's get directly into the agenda. So the first item that we have is a recommendation for the continuance to Tuesday, March 11, the Ides of March, for the consideration of the existing conditional use amendments to the existing conditional use permit and master plan for the listed items. Do we have a staff report and also the basis for the need for this continuance?
So this is the item that was noticed for this, it was publicly noticed for this meeting. In that time, since it was noticed, the applicant has requested a continuance to review and provide more information for the commission's consideration. Well, to review some of staff's work and provide information to the commission. So staff is recommending that you open the public hearing as noticed, hear from anyone who wishes to speak on the item, but then continue this item until March 11th at 7 PM. If there are any more questions about that, I'd be happy to answer them.
Other questions? Seth, Ronnie?
I think we have not yet seen any updated materials. Is that right? And
That is correct. However, you will before you get home today. So if this item is continued, we have it ready to go, but since there wasn't a formal action to continue, we couldn't publish the notice. We couldn't publish the staff report.
oh, okay. So you're saying the staff report with all the additional information will be available today?
Correct.
Oh, great.
Emily and I will take care of it for this meeting, assuming, of course, that the item is continued.
And then in one of the public comments, I saw reference to a table that was stated to have been created by staff. Yeah, in one of the public comments, it referenced a table comparing the aspects of the noise for the conditional use permit of the Priory versus the Neely. And it said that the table had been prepared by staff. I don't think that's a table that I've seen, but is that table part of the materials that we'll receive?
I'm not familiar. We'll make sure that we'll address that question before the hearing coming up forward.
Thank you.
Let me ask, the commissioners who are present, is the 11th a convenient date for you? As this is a change for the courtesy of the applicant. I would like to make sure that you're all able to be here and that it's convenient, otherwise we'll postpone it.
I'm able to be here. I did have to change something on my calendar because I reserved the first and third Wednesdays on my calendar. And I have a strong preference that we meet on Wednesdays because we have, even tonight with a very short agenda, we have 7 members of the public. So I feel like it's kind of a difficult for people who do pay attention to our activities to cover things when we're using different dates. But I can be here.
Ronnie?
Yeah, it's okay with me.
Yes, fine.
It's also fine with me. We should, open this matter, to the public. If there are, comments, this would be a public hearing to ventilate concerns or thoughts that one might have on the recommendation for the continuance to Tuesday, March 11th. Just on the continuance.
Phone number ending in 7562, you're allowed to speak.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Caroline Vertonghen. I just wanted to confirm that you received my public comments and some documents from 2004 and previous concerns about the previous CUP in 2021. This was posted on the agenda last time, but I want to make sure that you guys got it. And unfortunately, again, PPTS had Woodside Priory on the schedule, and for some reason, members could not discuss it. I'm really wondering what is going on, but the chair said he had not received any documents, and therefore we could not discuss it. Just wanted to give you that update. So I will have to make personal comments for on March 11th. Thank you.
Sure, I can, if it's okay, I'll confirm that everything that was submitted for the prior public hearing will be included in the packet coming forward.
That's great. On that point, MA, will we also have the minutes of the ASCC and of the other committees?
we don't have the minutes, but the meeting is available. The meeting is available to view on YouTube.
And I suggest that is less than convenient.
I understand. We're working on our procedures for minutes.
So are there minutes from the other committees that were approached and considered the priority CUP amendment as well?
Only the FCC, minutes are done by staff. So I'm not sure of any other committee's actions. I'll check for you.
That'd be great. Thank you. Okay. Are there other members of the public?
Betsy M., you're allowed to speak.
How do you do, commissioners and staff? I just would like to clarify, are you taking public comment about the date switch and that's it? Or are you taking public comment writ large about the, not writ large, but about the plan itself?
This would be about the change in date and if there are other closely related issues to that.
Okay, that's my understanding. Thank you for confirming it. I will now lower my hand and I have nothing to say about the change in date. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy.
There are no other hands raised at the moment.
So we should take this matter back for deliberation. If there is deliberation. Karen, can I start with you?
I'm fine with the continuation.
Lonnie?
I agree.
Linda?
I agree, but I'd like to make it a condition that all the prior public comments, both from today and prior meeting, are included in our packet. So we have a complete packet.
All the prior meetings would be included. I had
Thank you. But otherwise, I'm fine.
Let me only add, and also any other commission or committee
Totally.
minutes. So with that, I think that we probably have a consensus. Is there somebody who would like to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
And do you need a roll call for this?
You do not, but I do want to clarify, this is to continue to a date certain, March 11th at 7 PM. And
With the
you don't need a,
inclusion of all materials that were previously, that may come in, as well as the committee and commission meetings that may.
absolutely, and you don't need a roll call, you can do a voice vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Passes unanimous
Yeah. Ready by the chair.
With one absent.
with one absence. Thank you so much. We should turn to the commission, staff committee reports and recommendations. I believe we have at least two. If we can start with Linda and Karen, who can take us through the undergrounding subcommittee. You know, I kind of like the idea of the undergrounding, the underground subcommittee, but I recognize that that may be not as descriptive as it should be. So I'll let the two of you rename it as you would like. And if you could please provide a summary of where we are
Right.
today. Please. And
But-
if you can provide a little bit of background as to how we got.
Sure. Yeah, underground has a lot of meanings if you remember the Bob Dylan days, but I think it is important to make the change that I suggested to the agenda. Because this is not an agendized item, I will not discuss the substance. I will only discuss exactly where we are in our subcommittee process. Commissioner Vatra and I had a phone call, followed with a memo from her. And on February 20th, I drafted a policy and a couple of other documents and sent them to her. She's been away, so I have not heard back from her on those documents. But I think now that she's here, we'll have a chance to meet. Secondly, when we were appointed to this subcommittee, we did it on the condition that we would have a meeting with staff. And that meeting is scheduled for Monday, I believe at 11 a.m. With parents and whoever else he sees fit. So Karen and I will either have our subcommittee meeting in advance of that, or we will have it with you. And then I was also asked, we were asked, I took it as I was asked, to clarify this with the mayor. As a former chair of the planning commission, she understood the issue thoroughly. I did not discuss the substance with her at all, just the appropriate title for the subcommittee and our direction to look into creating a policy as set forth in the ordinance. And if we felt it was appropriate, a direction to the council if we thought changes need to be made. She understood, and she will look forward to hearing from us. I think that's where we are.
I have nothing to add. That was very clear.
All right. Thank you. So things are going well and making progress. We should expect to hear back from our subcommittee in probably a couple of weeks.
Yeah, my draft document said that we'd submit it to you on March 19th. Two of us haven't met, but I've got it drafted up for that meeting.
Good.
2 weeks from tonight.
Yeah, fair enough. Appreciate it.
And at that point, of course, being duly agendized appropriately, we could discuss the subjects.
Excellent. Ad hoc site evaluation committee. I believe that is Ronnie and Karen as well.
So the committee has completed a report with our evaluations of various sites, and we've submitted that to the town council. And it's tentatively planned, or it is planned to be on the agenda next week, March 12th. So assuming that goes ahead as expected, I would expect the agenda packet for that to be published sometime later this week, most likely. And that would include our report. And then during the meeting, the chair of the committee will provide a presentation, and then we'll be looking for feedback from it'll be up to the town council to take next steps. Included in our report, potentially, we believe that our subcommittee's task is complete. And so depending on what town council wants to do next, we may be complete as a committee, and then the town council could direct next steps for updating the housing element with these potentially additional sites.
And that sounds really timely, given where we are with our friends at HCD as well, and the other obligations that we have. Thank you very much for serving as the representative to the planning committee.
Did you have anything to add?
No, I don't. And I actually wasn't at the last meeting. I was traveling.
Thank you.
I take
we-
it it's not public until it is attached to the council's agenda. Is that right? I mean, can I get a copy of it now?
Yeah, I won't, I guess I don't think so.
Okay, I just.
Our,
that's
our
okay.
we had like iterations on the report that are, previous agenda packets, but yeah, you should just wait till later this week.
Okay.
So, we're going to take, committee, any reports from, staff. We are also to, open up, following these items, public hearing has been a custom. I'd like to do that for these two, commissioner reports and then have staff make a presentation and then open it up on any issues that may be presented. So if we can open up a public comment on these two items. If there are,
There are no hands raised at the moment.
all right, so the public comment on these two items. will be
Whoops.
Closed.
No.
All right, not so fast. All right. Would please.
Phone number ending in 7562, you're allowed to speak.
Good evening. Thanks again. This is Caroline Bertongen. I know you guys do the policy or you are working on the policy, but it's an item we have brought up at the Finance Committee several times. So in 2021, our previous town manager, Mr. Dennis, in his budget, he proposed 100,000 K for a study. So you might want to look at it. I raised the question again at the last finance meeting, and our interim finance director did not know about it. So perhaps you guys can raise it when you meet with the town manager. So that's my input. Thank you.
If you can stay on the line for just a moment. If I'm not incorrect, that's a question about undergrounding the main lines through the town. Rather than
It was
be more, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I believe that the study that you're referencing pertain to the main electrical lines that are coming in into the town, rather than lines that come into individual residences. And I want to confirm that that's my understanding is correct, as the subcommittee has a more limited focus on the laterals that come into people's homes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioner Brothers, to your point, the clarification of the name is obviously useful as referenced.
One person who didn't call me today.
If I can ask if there are other members of the public who,
There are no other members of the public with their hands raised.
thank you. Then let's close the public comment for this moment. If I can ask if there are the staff reports.
Mr. Chair, only to once again remind the commission and the community that on the 19th of March, we will be considering making the changes necessary to the zoning ordinance to satisfy the Housing and Community Development Department of the state, to hopefully allow them to recertify our housing element. So that is coming up at your meeting on the 19th. And just wanted to bring that forward. Also want to indicate, I'm going to say this many times, sorry for bored people, but the zoning of the property does not compel the town to actually develop that property. The zoning of the property would facilitate and smooth the process if the town decided to develop the property, but there is a separate decision tree that would have to take place if the town wanted to develop that property. It is included in the housing element as something the town would do, but the zoning does not make it happen. So hopefully that's clear, and I apologize for continuing to say it, but there's a lot of misunderstanding about that. So, thank you.
You have the opportunity of drifting into a substantive conversation here, which I would love to do, but would also be not appropriate. So I'm going to refrain and instead I'm going to recommend this Commissioner Krasinski.
Yeah, non-substantive question. About that, the March 19th meeting, I guess there was a notice sent out to maybe certain neighbors around the location. Someone had posted a photo of that, the PV forum, but I haven't seen it available anywhere else. Is it possible is it available somewhere, or could it be put on our agenda for the March 19th meeting, that the notice that was?
It should be now. We'll confirm that.
Notice or the-
It's the public hearing notice that's required to be available 20 days before and mailed to people within a certain radius up to 300 feet of the zone property.
I will also say it is publicly viewable at 3 locations in town, one outside the Ace Hardware, one outside the Saddlery, in Village Square, and then the last place is outside of the town hall.
And I ask that you send a copy of that to the planning commissioners here, and perhaps one of us will be talented enough to post it to PV Forum, make it more generally available.
Happy to do that.
Thank you. And,
Would it be reasonable to put it on the March 19th meeting material? Or?
Sure.
Okay. I know some people have been looking for it, not able to find it.
Ronnie, I could ask more particularly if you could post it to PV Forum, as I will not be able to do that reliably.
Sure, or if that's something that staff could do as well?
Yes. Well, I'm sorry, we don't make
Can't,
close to
but you
PV
can.
form.
Okay.
Especially if we ask you.
Just to reiterate what I'd said earlier, the actual, no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the Prairie, apologize. So absolutely, we'll get that notice up on the town, on the calendar for that meeting.
So I have also a procedural question. That's simply the notice of the meeting, right? You weren't here, Terrence, when we did the zoning code last time, and a number of members of the commission found it necessary to form a subcommittee with the ASCC to do the zoning code because of the, I'll use the word quality of the materials that we received. So I'm wondering when we're going to actually see that and whether or not that's going to allow us to do a timely approval. And that is a procedural question.
I don't have an exact date, but approximately be sometime next week. But I don't know about quality, but it is very straightforward and clear.
I can also assure you we'll take the time that's necessary to review it and make sure that language is clear and satisfactory, and it represents the views, at least a majority
Thank you.
of this commission.
Thank you.
We do have one hand raised. Would you like to address that individual? Okay.
Sure.
Nothing further.
Great, thank you. Please.
Rita Combs, you're allowed to speak.
Okay, second time trying. Rita Comas Whitney, thank you for taking my comment. It was myself that posted that notice on the PV forum. And it was because it was brought to my attention and there were people in town that said, hey, how come I didn't get it? This actually affects all of us. And it should have gone out in the notice from the town that talks about what's happening. This is a really important thing, and I really hope it doesn't just wait for the packet from the Planning Commission, which sometimes it comes out late on Friday and people don't get a chance to read it and have it buried in that packet. So hopefully it will go out separately to the community, and appreciate that going out to the community. And thank you again for agreeing to put together all of the materials for Woodside Priory before that next meeting, because there have been several meetings and things get disconnected and the minutes don't always reflect all the pieces and things that were said. So thank you for agreeing to put all of that together for, I guess, the 11th is next Tuesday's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you also for posting the materials to PV Forum. If I can ask that when we do post, if we can, instead of just noticing to the minimum distance, if we can include the 1,000-foot radius as we do for significant matters. Great, thank you. So
That raises a question, I'm sorry, but who decides what gets in the weekly notice from the town? I gather from Rita's comments that this wasn't in that. Is that right?
You're talking about the newsletter.
The newsletter, yeah.
The town manager is ultimately responsible. What gets in the newsletter. We have admins, we have staff, different staff level people that work on it. And frankly, it's an oversight on our part that we didn't include it. When I say our, I mean planning.
In the newsletter? Yeah, I think in the past, meetings and stuff like that are not typically announced. in the
Yeah,
newsletter.
but given the importance of this zoning, of this ordinance, we could have done that. So, we'll look at doing that in the next meeting,
Thank you.
in the next,
I don't know
newsletter.
that any apology is necessary, but appreciate.
I didn't know how it worked.
Okay,
On a go-forward basis. The last item I believe that we have here, as my computer is just locked, is are the minutes. And we've asked if there are any modifications that are appropriate to be made to the minutes of January 15th.
I just had a question. I have two very minor grammatical things. Is it worth, should I bring that up here or should I bring it directly to staff?
Well, while you've got the floor.
Okay, okay,
It's one of these things where I understand the issue.
They're not significant.
That as a substantive, as a general matter, my ask would be that we do it publicly.
Okay,
Because if it's a modification, there will be times when there's language that's tricky or nuanced that needs to be provided to staff rather than doing it in real time. But in general, it's I
Okay.
think better to do this publicly.
okay. On page 7, there's a super minor correction at the second to last paragraph. A sentence starts with lowercase traffic study and it should be the traffic study.
is that packet page 7 or minutes page 7?
I think it's packet page 7.
No, it's
Oh,
minute-
oh, it's
I see
minutes page
it's
7.
minutes page-
Okay.
Packet page 10, minutes page 7.
Minutes, page 7. Okay, and then on 17, page 17, the last paragraph, I was talking about the PV Connect app and you wrote it as TPV Connect, and it's really the PV Connect. So just, there's a leading to there. I said very minor.
Oh, and that one is packet page.
Okay, sorry. I will try to be consistent. in the
Mhm.
future.
Um, I had seen one typo on minutes, page 17. It says PPTS should be BPTF. So the letter P should change to the letter B.
I had no comments. But they were good.
Similar. With that, we should open a
Can I provide corrections for myself for the record? Okay. So Richard Mark is spelled incorrectly. Let me go to the right page for everybody's reference.
Page 19.
Yes, page 19 of the agenda packet, page 16 of the minutes. Mr. Merck's last name does not include a C, so that will have to be removed whenever his name is mentioned. That's all now.
Mark, I believe, was former mayor. If there are, public comments, or we should open a public hearing, at this point.
There are no hands raised at the moment.
In that case, we will close it. And I will entertain a motion, please. We have
Not so fast.
comments. We will reopen the hearing and
So,
make the question. Carolyn.
Good evening. I apologize. Caroline Bertongen again. It's a general observation or perhaps a general comment, but as you remember, the planner made a mistake when he was making reference to Coleman Field. And he thought that was the baseball field, the little field where the new sports complex will go. But Coleman Field is a baseball field, and it's in the back of the Priory property, and it is actually on the corner of Saucil Trail and Georgia Lane. So I did not see that clarification reflected in the minutes, and so that's why I'm making a note, and hopefully you notice it.
Caroline, may I inquire on which pages that appears?
Oh, I have to send it. It's in the beginning that the planner makes reference about Coleman Field, and perhaps Mr. Kuzinski knows where it is.
Yeah, sorry, I see it on page 10 of the agenda packet, page 7 of the minutes. It says the proposed athletic center located behind the existing track on Coleman Field. And I think your comment is that that is not Coleman Field where the track is.
Exactly. And he tried to correct it, but I don't see it reflected in the minutes anywhere.
Okay.
Got it. So the issue is the name of the field.
Yeah.
the track, and then just delete the reference to the field.
In Coleman Field, it does appear 2 times later.
I think that
Probably just
perhaps
delete the name,
the right
yeah.
way to do that would actually just to include sick in brackets.
Yep.
To reflect that the words were spoken, but it's not accurate.
Brilliant.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hit the big bucks.
Must be a partner in that law firm.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Helen. Are there further questions or further members of the public?
No more members of the public. I do have another correction for myself.
Please.
On page 22 of the agenda packet, page 19 of the minutes, the attorney or legal counsel, Camis Steinmetz, her first name is spelled incorrectly. It should be C-A-M-A-S, not K-M-I-S.
Very true.
Pretty good minutes. I will try and read them.
Yeah, right, that's seems nicely done. Good. No further comments from the public. No further, we're closing the hearing. We're looking back to the commission members. Are there any further questions and discussion? Is there a motion perhaps?
I move the adoption of the minutes as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No abstentions with one member not present. With the minutes having been addressed, I'm looking to staff if there are any items that should be further addressed.
Only your adjournment.
As
Sure.
there are none, I've got the power. I'm adjourning this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well done.